Kareem, what inspired you to start writing?
So I've always liked reading. I've always liked comic books. Oddly enough, I used to live in Boston for 5 years, right? And there was this show, every Wednesday night. I would go up into my room, and there was a radio show. And the radio show played all of the old classic radio programs from the 30s, the 40s, and even some of the very early 50s. I mean, if I drop some names, a lot of people won't know, but it was The Shadow, The Life of Riley, Chiller Theater, old Supermans, old Lone Rangers. And what it was is you had to use your imagination. There was no special effects. There were some sound effects, but everything was dialogue driven. Everything had to come into your imagination. And I would just literally I would peruse through comic books and listen to these shows. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. That's what would happen. And it had a really huge impact on me. It gave me a creative spark that I never was able to shake. And comic books. Now, here's the thing. If you never read comic books and you think about comic books, you may just kind of throw them off to the side. I'm like, comic books. I hear about comic books and comic book movies. But comic books are not living, breathing, but they're static movies. You have dialogue, you have shots, you have content. And if you look at it, it's a storyboard. That's what comic books are. And that, coupled with the fact that my imagination was already on fire by listening to these radio shows, I did the same thing when I read comic books. I just didn't read words. I added the mental sound effects. I've added, what does he sound like when he's doing this? What does she sound like? What is the ambient noise? And, what's the environment like? And I would create it in my brain, and it was a natural progression for me to start writing. And it was always a combination of art and writing. I couldn't shoot movies, so I would draw my own comic books. I wasn't the best artist in the world, but I could hang. I would write my own comic books, and I would write my own little 10-page stories. And I did it for years, and doing that helped me understand the visual language, because a little kid, black kid, didn't have access to, top of the line equipment and video camera. I didn't get my first video camera until I was out of high school. And that was the tool I used to help teach me the art of storytelling. So that's what it was.
Okay, follow-up question.
Yes.
What was the inspiration behind 01?
01 came from a place that, and I hope I'm not spoiling too much of the film, but 01 came from a place is, if you had the ability, the tools and the resources to change the world for the better, at great personal sacrifice, would you do it? But we're not talking about, oh, I'm going to dress up in a suit and fight crime. No, great personal sacrifice. Give up everything that you know and love and everything that's important to you to help people that probably don't even want to be helped, or don't even care, or are oblivious to this, and would you do it?
So this was just a simple thought.
It started off as a thought.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of humanity. I believe that if more people were good people, just forget tolerance and forget, getting along and kumbaya. If people just strived to be good people, starting right with you and who you were, the world would be a better place. Religion and all the other things that are thrown in the mix wouldn't matter if people just focused on being good human beings. And I touched on that a little bit in 01.